Everyone in the cafe turned to stare the moment the man said it. "Can we join?" His little girl clung to his coat, her eyes bright like she believed Christmas still had magic. But the woman he was speaking to? She had just been rejected so brutally on what was supposed to be her Christmas blind date that she could barely breathe. Subscribe to our channel and like the video, and stay tuned for more content like this. No one expected their worlds to collide. No one expected a single dad and a broken-hearted woman to share a table. But that small question, "Can we join?" set in motion a night that would change all of them forever. Snow tapped softly against the fogged windows of the cafe, the kind of quiet Christmas Eve snowfall that made the world feel gentle, except nothing felt gentle for Emily tonight. She smoothed the red dress she'd spent too much money on, rehearsed a smile that hurt her cheeks, and checked her phone for the 15th time in 10 minutes. Her blind date, Mark, friend of a friend, was supposed to be here. When he finally walked in, she felt hope stir, only for it to crash the second he reached her table. He didn't sit, didn't smile, didn't even pretend. "Sorry," he said, shrugging as though brushing off a stranger asking for spare change. "My friend exaggerated. You're just not my type." He didn't give her a chance to respond. Didn't stay long enough to notice her throat tighten or her hands tremble. He simply walked away. Emily sat there, staring at the chair he chose not to sit in. The humiliation felt hot against her face. She blinked fast, refusing to cry in public. Not again. Not tonight. Not on Christmas Eve. People pretended not to watch, but she saw their side glances. Pity mixed with curiosity. Her heart felt like it had been wrapped in ice, heavy and cold. She drew a shaky breath and whispered to herself, "It's fine. It's just one date. I'll just finish the cocoa and go home." But the cocoa tasted bitter now, and the holiday music in the cafe seemed too cheerful, too bright, too wrong. She wrapped her arms around herself and stared out the window, wishing the snow could just swallow her embarrassment whole. She didn't notice the pair standing near the entrance. Not until a soft little voice said, "Daddy, that lady looks sad." And a deeper voice answered tenderly, "Yeah, she does." Moments later, shoes scuffed gently against the floor as they approached her table. Emily looked up, thinking maybe someone needed directions or a napkin. Instead, she saw a man in a worn winter coat, tired eyes but kind, strong hands but gentle presence, standing beside a little girl barely 6 years old, holding a gingerbread cookie shaped like a heart. The man gave an apologetic half-smile. "Hi. I'm sorry to bother you," he said. "But my daughter insisted we check on you. And, well, if you don't mind." He scratched the back of his neck, nervous but sincere. "Can we join?" The question hung in the air like a fragile ornament, unexpected, delicate, and full of possibility. Emily stared at them, stunned. And for the first time that night, her heartbeat slowed. Warmth returned to her fingers. The loneliness eased just a little. "Yes," she whispered before she could stop herself. "Please." The man nodded, relieved. "I'm Daniel. And this is Lily." The little girl climbed into the opposite chair, swinging her legs and offering the gingerbread cookie to Emily. "Daddy says Christmas is for sharing," Lily said. "And you look like someone who needs a friend." Emily felt something inside her crack, but it wasn't pain this time. Not entirely. It was the beginning of something else. Something she didn't have a name for yet. The cafe felt different now, warmer somehow, as Daniel settled into the seat Mark never took. He didn't ask intrusive questions or bring up the rejection he had clearly witnessed. Instead, he gently guided his daughter to place the cookie on Emily's napkin. "Lily takes cookie-giving very seriously," he joked. "She's practically a holiday diplomat." The girl grinned and began telling Emily about the snowman she tried to build earlier. It fell over 3 times, the carrot kept disappearing, and the neighbor's dog had run off with one of the gloves. Daniel listened fondly, occasionally adding a detail or teasing his daughter in a way that made Emily smile without effort. She hadn't smiled genuinely in weeks. Maybe months. When their cocoa arrived, 2 for them, one half-size cup filled mostly with whipped cream for Lily, Emily finally asked. "So, what brings you two out tonight?" Daniel hesitated, as if choosing honesty over comfort. "This is our first Christmas without Lily's mom. She passed away in the spring." His voice didn't crack, but there was a quiet heaviness to it. Emily's heart both ached and softened. "I'm so sorry," she said. "And she meant it." Daniel nodded gently. "We're managing. Taking it one holiday at a time." He smiled at his daughter. "Tonight I told her we'd try something new. Make a memory instead of missing the ones we lost." Emily admired the strength in his voice. Not the absence of pain, but the courage to keep going despite it. "And you?" Daniel asked softly. "Rough night?" Emily let out a breathy laugh. "Blind date disaster. He took one look and decided I wasn't his type." Lily gasped dramatically. "That's silly. You're pretty. And you didn't even spill anything." For the first time all night, Emily laughed, really laughed. Daniel glanced at her with a softness she hadn't expected. "Some people don't see what matters." Their eyes held for a moment longer than a stranger's should. Not romantic, not yet, but sincere. Human. Present. They talked for almost an hour about everything and nothing. Childhood memories, silly traditions, favorite movies, the smell of fresh pine trees. Emily felt seen, not judged. Daniel felt understood, not pitted. Lily eventually yawned so widely her head nearly fell into her cocoa. Daniel chuckled. "Looks like someone's done for the night." "Wait," Lily said sleepily, tugging Emily's sleeve. "Can we see you again?" Emily blinked. "You want to see me again?" Lily nodded. "Daddy smiles more when you talk." Daniel's ears turned pink. "Kids," he muttered under his breath. Emily looked at the two of them, this fragile, healing little family, and something inside her shifted. The shame of the blind date, the loneliness of the past year, it all felt smaller now, replaced by a warmth she hadn't felt in a very long time. "I'd like that," she said softly. "I'd really like that." They stood to leave together, and as they walked toward the door, Daniel touched her elbow lightly, hesitant, gentle, grateful. "Thank you," he said. "For what?" "For letting a couple of strangers join you when you needed it least, but maybe when we all needed it most." Snowflakes drifted down as they stepped outside, the world glowing with Christmas lights and new beginnings. Emily glanced at Daniel and Lily. And for the first time in years, she didn't feel alone on Christmas. She felt chosen. She felt found. She felt home.